In this video, we are going to focus on slicing the MVP release. Previously, we established our entire product backbone, also including all the possible ways Sarah could accomplish her goals. We collected the user stories and put them on the board. We have a comprehensive map of all possible partly features. Now comes the discipline of defining the MVP. We need to find the walking skeleton, the least amount of code that allows Sarah to complete her entire journey from start to finish. It's functional, but not feature-rich. Before we start our real work on slicing our MVP release, let's take a look at what to pay attention to. The most important is to focus on the core value. Your MVP should deliver the smallest set of features that solves the user's primary problem. Everything else can wait. Ask yourself, if this feature were missing, would the user still get value? We need to prioritize by user journey. Slice along the user journey, not by technical layers. Deliver an end-to-end experience that allows the user to achieve one complete goal, even if it's minimal in functionality. And keep in mind to balance user value and feasibility. Choose stories that are valuable yet feasible within your constraints. Avoid complex integrations or nice-to-haves that don't directly validate your product hypothesis. It is also important that you need to include feedback loops. An MVP is not just about delivering fast, it's about learning fast. Build in ways to collect feedback early, so you can iterate with evidence. We also need to keep it simple and testable. Make sure the MVP can be tested and measured against clear success criteria. Define what success looks like, user management for example, task completion, retention, even before you build. And finally, plan for iteration. Your MVP is not the finish line, it's just the start. Ensure the architecture, backlog, and team mindset support quick iteration after you learn from your real users. And now, we need to think about the absolute minimum that is relevant for our Parkley application. First, we are going to create our MVP release on the story map. We are going to collect all of those user stories that is critical for our early success. This all required our registration and sign-in process related user stories. Inputting the email address, password, the remembering me option is not that key in the beginning. View the password visibility toggle would be good to our user, and of course receiving error messages if the credentials are not correct. We will also enable for our user resetting the password in early adoption phase as well. Now let's move all of these stories into our MVP. This will set the stage for our real work. We are focusing now on the key features, the core of our application that will provide value for Sarah every single day, conveniently and quickly finding the parking slot and pay for it. The promise for our users using the Parkley application is to access and easily book their parking slot. And this is what exactly we need to enable for them. Therefore, enabling the GPS location of our user is a non-negotiable feature. However, if the GPS is not working, Sarah should be able to enter the address manually. Once we have all the details, then we can display the parking zones on a map for our user. Initially, we were thinking about the filtering section for availability, distance, price, or rating. Now, this is a huge user story that we should split into multiple pieces in order to make sure that we can deliver it quickly and incrementally. We will come back to this in a second. Now, once we have all these options listed on the map, then we can select the right zone. We can display the pricing information and show operating hours and restrictions. Now we are going to move also these stories into the MVP release. The first and one of the most critical user goal, finding the parking zone, is now completed with its user journey. We also identified the minimum feature set that would enable this for our user Sarah. At this point, we are not going to add additional section for the result. We are not going to allow our user to filter for any kind of criteria in the beginning. If during our tests, it turns out that Sarah cannot live without a filtering options, then we can add an additional layer to our application. The most difficult part of slicing our MVP is to find those minimum set of features that the user can't live without. The next step in the user journey, to start the session. If the details are alright, then we can initiate parking session and also select the duration from a pre-established list. Then we can review our session details before confirmation. Let's also add these user stories into the MVP. And finally, once we review the details, let's confirm the session. We discuss with our stakeholders what are those key feature sets on a minimum level that would deliver value for our user from start to end using the Parkly application. The power of this visualization is immediate. Our entire team, including stakeholders, can see exactly what is included and, just as importantly, what is excluded. This map gives us the confidence to say, yes, these are the user stories that we are shipping first, but they can complete Sarah's core needs from start to end using the application. Everything below the line is clear scope for release 2 or later releases. In the next video, we will talk about how this map helps the development team.